suddenly had an urge to go closer and touch the tree. It wasn't dangerous. Why had I thought it was dangerous and ugly? How ridiculous! Even though I felt very dizzy and strange, I could clearly see that this tree was beautiful. The clean, smooth bark was virtually begging to be touched. I wasn't aware that I'd started walking closer. If Lisa hadn't grabbed me, I don't know what might have happened. I'd rather not think about it. "Are you crazy?" she screamed into my ear. "What are you doing?" The sharp voice broke the trance, and to my astonishment I saw that I was standing right in front of the tree, so close that I didn't even have to stretch out my arm to touch the ugly, twisted trunk. Panic-stricken, I threw myself backward, and two strong arms caught and held me. "The tree," I gasped. "It was so beautiful, and it asked me to come." "He's grown stronger than I thought," said Dad as he let me go. "We have to hurry before he gets a chance to work his magic on all of us. Take each other's hands and let's make a circle around the tree. We'll be stronger together than we are separately." Everybody quickly did as he said. This will never end well, I thought, feeling Katelyn's nails digging into my hand. She was just as scared as I was, apparently. My other hand clung to Erica's icy-cold fingers. It was Erica who'd come up with this plan, and Dad thought it was worth a try. At first we discussed the idea of using the old formula again, but we decided that it wasn't going to work. The jar was broken, and besides, we didn't have any way to get to it, because it was somewhere underneath the bewitched tree. "What if we give the ghost, or whatever he is, a taste of his own medicine?" Erica had suggested. "My grandfather used to say things like, 'Desperate ills need desperate remedies,' and 'one has to fight fire with fire.' I don't know how we can do it, but—" Erica fell silent. That's not a bad idea." Dad scratched his head. "The thing is, though, I don't think we have much of a chance against Hudson's spirit when it comes to evil. But maybe we could turn it around a little. What if we try to fight him with goodness instead? We could use his own past against him." "Use his past against him? What do you mean?" I looked at him, mystified. "You don't know this, but Mr. Hudson wasn't always evil," said Dad. "I heard a story a long time ago. At some point in his youth, Lawrence Hudson had saved two little children from drowning. They were walking on some frozen river or lake when the ice broke and they fell through. They were seconds away from being lost forever, and Mr. Hudson risked his own life to save them. Maybe we could draw on that. I mean, use his own good deed against the evil that's taken hold of him for so long." It sounded so nice when Dad said it. But now that we were standing out there in the forest about to try to make it happen, it seemed utterly naive to think that we could do anything at all against the terrible thing possessing this tree. Was it just my imagination again? Or was there even more cold emanating from the tree trunk now? My chest felt like it was being strangled with fear, and I saw one of the twigs move, as if the tree tried to open an eye. I looked straight down at the ground because I did not want to see this. "Lawrence Hudson, rumor has it that you're evil, but we know better. We know that you're really a good person." Dad's voice was surprisingly strong and self-assured. "The way you saved those two children long ago is evidence of that. Thanks to you, they got to grow up and have a good life. You were willing to sacrifice your own life for them. That is the single greatest kindness and love you can ever show another human being. We offer you our deepest gratitude for your good deeds. We know that you long for peace." The icy-cold wind hit me like a fist and came so unexpectedly that I almost lost my grip on Katelyn and Erica. I gasped for air. A horrible mumble arose from the tree, and the thick, twisted trunk shook as if it had a cramp. "We've made him furious," I thought, now scared out of my mind. "We've made things worse. Help, Mom! I want to go home." "Don't give up," shouted Dad. "Think about those kids. Think about how brave Mr. Hudson was when he saved them. It was a totally unselfish, caring act." I tried my best, but it was getting harder and harder to think clearly. The wind howled around us, and I kept my eyes tight shut. Dad's voice blended in with the scary mumbling from the tree. I gave up trying to make out the words. My head was spinning, and I thought I was going to faint. But surprisingly, I managed to stay on my feet. I have no idea how long we stood there in the blustery wind. I was so frightened it was hard to breathe. Then suddenly, a ghastly, drawn-out wail cut through the woods. It sounded hollow and inhuman. I shivered and thought that this could be the end of us. Then all of a sudden, the wind quieted down, and the air felt mild and pleasant against my face. Carefully, I opened my eyes and stood speechless. Was I seeing things again? And then I heard Lisa's voice. "Look," she said happily. "We did it. It worked!" I looked at the tree and could barely believe my own eyes. The tree still had no leaves, but the trunk had straightened and the bark was no longer knobby and sick-looking. Was it possible? Right then a bird came flying through the air. I held my breath as I watched it land on one of the branches at the top of the tree. Nothing happened. The bird spread its feathers, and as its undisturbed chirping reached down to us, Dad said with relief in his voice, "Yes, we actually did it." The evil spirit couldn't stand up against kindness, and this time he's gone for good. I can feel it in my bones. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat as I stormed into the stable. I was even more afraid now than I had been in the woods. Not because I didn't believe that the evil spirit was gone, but what if it hadn't helped Happy after all? What if his spark and personality were lost forever? It was quiet in Happy's stall. No neigh greeted me. I could feel my heart sink. It must mean that... I held my breath as I walked the last few steps over to the stall, dreading the sight that would confirm my greatest fear. "Happy!" I burst out. "How could you be so heartless? Here you are, eating and enjoying yourself and not taking any notice of me. What kind of a welcome is that? You almost scared me to death." Happy flapped his ears and made some kind of a snort. His dark eyes watched me impatiently, as if he wanted to say, "What are you babbling about? Can't a hungry pony eat his food in peace?" Then he lowered his head again and continued chowing down hay as if it was a matter of life and death. I practically threw myself into the stall and put my arms around his neck. My pony was eating like a pig again. That is, like a perfectly normal horse. Happy was definitely his old self again. I started crying from sheer relief. "Hey, would you look at that crybaby? Maybe we should send her to some drought-ridden area." A pair of giggling voices made my stomach tighten. Were Jessica and Katelyn back together again? But when I looked up, I saw that it was Erica standing next to my sister. For a moment I felt the usual uncertainty, but then I realized that this was just friendly teasing. I wiped away the tears as I smiled at them. "It's my way of celebrating," I said lightly. "No champagne, only eau de Kelly." I was actually a little proud of that comeback, even though I had to explain to Erica that eau de means water from. "When that glutton is done stuffing himself, do you think he'll feel up to a short ride, maybe?" Katelyn looked at me, and I knew that this little invitation was her way of saying sorry. "I'm sure he will," I said, ruffling Happy's mane. I sighed contentedly as I noticed a warm feeling spread throughout my body. It occurred to me that all the scary stuff had also led to some good things. I got my sister back, and even better, my pony. And, not the least, I'd proven both to myself and to others that I had it in me to be pretty brave when things got tough. So maybe I wasn't totally hopeless after all.